Well, hello and greetings to all of our brothers and sisters at the South Bumby Church. It's been a while since you've seen us. It's been a while since we have seen you. And I must say, as we begin, that this is the first time that Jim and Walcott and I, all three, have been physically together for at least a couple of months. And I've seen Walcott for a couple of services, but it's the first time in that same period of time that I've seen Jim. And I must say that his beard is much more impressive in person than it is on the video camera. But we are thankful that you are taking a few minutes of your time to allow us to talk with you. We actually thought about doing this in a letter, but then we thought maybe it would be good, rather than just another letter, that we prepare a video message for you. So the purpose of what we're going to share with you tonight is to let you know some of our thinking and our planning as we prepare to start assembling together again. We announced in a letter last week that we have plans to come together on May 31st, but there's a lot that's involved in that, and there's more to come even beyond this video message that you'll be hearing about and learning about. But first, let us say, on behalf of Jim and Walcott and I, how much we appreciate your patience and flexibility during these past several weeks that we have not been able to be together. And also, please know how grateful we are and how much we have appreciated your prayers and your expressions of support and encouragement. How and the way that we, and when, that we will begin assembling together is a very difficult process, and the decision making and the planning that is involved in this is something that we have taken very seriously. And so your support as we go forward will be very much appreciated. But something else we'd like you to know, that even as we begin assembling together, as we come back together, please know, and we're going to have to remind ourselves, that it's not going to be 100% normal, and probably will not be for some time to come. So what we want to do now is share with you some of the details, specifically with regard to beginning our worship together. Again, more information will be coming, but Jim is going to share a few thoughts with us now. Jim?
Our motivation for, as we contemplated phasing in resumption of our normal services and study, was care for one another. Care for each other's physical welfare, their health, as well as their spiritual welfare. That's been our motivation all along, even during this time of virtual assemblies. But as we consider the assembling back together, we're looking at it in phases, as the governments are doing. And we're assembling a set of guidelines. We asked the deacons, with some assistance of Ken and some of our own guidance, to assemble a set of guidelines that we will follow as we phase in our worship service together in person, and then in phases our assemblies for study and so forth. But I'm not going to go into the details of those guidelines. You'll be receiving those this week. Instead, I want to underscore the motivation, because this needs to be behind all of your thinking as we try to follow these guidelines, some of which you may or may not fully agree with, but they're all motivated because we care for each other. So the social distancing, the measures of trying to make sure you may not be ill, or our understanding of those who might not feel safe, all of those are out of consideration for each other. So keep that in mind. Think about what you do and how it affects other people. How you might, even though you may not think you're putting them at physical risk, how they may feel at physical risk. So perhaps you should wear that face mask because they would feel less anxious. So take a look at those guidelines when you receive them. If you have any questions, please do ask the deacons, ask the elders here, ask us. We'd be glad to answer that. We also ask that you would let us know if you're planning to assemble, because we need that information to make sure that our facilities are set up to properly accommodate the numbers that we might see attend. So please remember, care for one another, pray for us, and do what you can out of consideration for each other. Walcott.
So we understand, or we can be understanding to the fact that some may not even feel comfortable coming out, and we want you to know that is fine. This is something that we have to monitor, and it's going to be a personal decision for all of us. And if one doesn't feel comfortable, that's going to be fine. And we want you to know that as well. As per when we will start Bible studies and maybe resume the 9 o'clock services, that's still up in the air right now. No decision has been made on that. And one of the reasons for that, we, as Jim mentioned, will continue to monitor what the government officials or local officials are saying on that. And the other thing, let us remain flexible. This is something new that we're going to have to deal with and encounter. So when we do meet, let us really look out for one another. As Jim mentioned, it's about us caring for one another. So I know it's going to be hard. We just instinctively want to be with each other. Some may even wonder, okay, what has this absence caused? Are some going to be comfortable just staying away from services? One of the things that us being apart has really brought home to me personally, and I'm pretty sure that Jim and Ralph share that too, is the opposite. How important it is for us to be together. How much we miss those physical touches. It is so different being away from each other. So we'll just have to continue encouraging one another. And yes, as I said, we want to be flexible. And I'll echo what Ralph and Jim said. We just have to keep encouraging one another. These are different times. And let us be patient as we slowly get things back rolling the way it used to be. We, like you, miss the fellowship, the physical contact with one another. We look forward to that greatly. And hopefully as we phase things in, we can, slowly get that back together the way things were. And who knows how long it's going to be, but let us be patient and just work things slowly as we try and meet back together as a family.
Thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you.